Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to the 24th SB interviews where today I will be chatting to the Lord Razu, and if we switch over to here we have the man on the screen. Feel free to introduce yourself, the Lord Razu.
What up everybody, it's the Lord Razu and I am glad to be here today. Spider, you the man. Couldn't wait to do this interview.
Yeah, no, we've been counting down the days, but what is Lord Razu about?
Oh, that's a long explanation, but I'll keep it short. Basically, the definition of Razu is warrior, and that is an embodiment of who I am. Even my biological name, my parents wanted me to have something strong, and the way I stumbled upon the name Razu was an omen. And it defines everything the way I am, and being myself, being unique and strong, perseverance, will, all those things that define a strong character.
Excellent. So was it a seamless transition to bring that into your music, or how did you come up with the idea to integrate the Lord part into your music, into your moniker?
So this is like a story I tell all the time. So my favorite rap group is Wu-Tang Clan. And I guess the head of the group, his name is the RZA. And I used to play some video games back in the day. And there was one song that they wrote. I was like 15, 16 years old when I listened to this. So I was very intimidated by them as a younger boy. And one of the songs where they were talking about, they don't want anybody copying them or sounding like them. And then if they do, they're going to come to the front door. And I was legitimately afraid back then. So I was playing this video game called Phantasy Star online, and I had to make a character name. And I wanted to show my, bring the influence of my favorite rapper in there, the RZA, RZA. I didn't want to copy his name. So what I did was I wrote down, R-A-Z, because I switched the letters backward, and then went down a list of vowels on a piece of paper. And then U was the best sounding one because, Razi or Raise or, Razai didn't sound right. So that's how that came about. And then so I still wanted to separate myself and give it something more prestigious because that's how I view myself anyway. So, back in the days of kings and queens, there's lords, knights, stuff like that. Lord is a prestigious thing. So I put it in front of there. Now that's video games. Now, when I started making music, my friend was like, man, what's your name? And I was like, I might go with this. I was at work and I searched up the name Razu to see if it was real. And come to find out, in many countries, it's real. It's a real name. And what made it such an omen is that when I rearranged the name or made it, I pre-named it Warrior. I was like, this is Warrior. And then when I look it up, it actually means warrior. And it was meant to be. It was an omen. And that's how we got there.
How long have you been at this? I remember reading somewhere you've been making music for like 13 or 14 years or something like that.
Been writing since I was 14, but like professionally, really hitting it hard since I was 19. So that's I'm not old at all, but just to think about, like 15 years. Yeah.
How have things changed for you? Like, do you have the same kind of approach to writing music as you did back then? How have things developed?
When you're younger, you have this desire to be like number one and to just fire. Like that's the only thing you're focused on. And over time, if the fire is still there, but priorities change. It's who I am, and it's not something that will ever go away. It just adjusts and changes and builds and becomes something more each time I do something. So it's a big contrast, but the soul and the heart is still there. The drive is still there, just in different ways.
Well, I mean, I was reading through. I was doing a bit of research before. You've got quite a bit of success. You're talking about like 400K streams across all your platforms. You've got like a few thousand people following you now with your music. You've released 50 music videos. 50 music videos. How do you manage that output of content like that?
So it's kind of the beauty. Like, it took me so long to get to that point. However, the buildup and being able, like the work ethic that goes behind it, like I was literally doing like 10 videos a week and just stockpiling it. stockpiling it. And then, there's a strategy when it comes to releasing. Everyone's like, oh yeah, let me just release. No, you gotta have a strategy, and you gotta, feed it. And, we live in the world of algorithms and YouTube and all that other stuff. And so you really, so it was like during COVID, I mean, we're still going through like the initial part of it. We're all at home and I'm just banging them out. And, I also do a lot of the work myself at home. So
No, no, fantastic. Yeah, like how do you find the balance between working with the people that love your music and working the robots that control the reach of it?
Uh, I question that myself. I think I am blessed to have, two different perspectives on how to get things done, working with the technical side and the artistic side. Even they share a lot of similarities, but it's just a lot of trial and error, studying. And so it's just that balance comes from knowing what I want, knowing where I want to go, and not giving up and just staying on what I want to do and not try to trend or follow what is popular.
Yeah, because I'm keen to chat about your music in a sec, but I looked through like your marketing. It's fairly slick. Like, do you do it all yourself, or do you have a big marketing team and management team to work with you?
All myself. I am working on getting help, but everything you see right now has been driven by me.
How?
I have had how? I mean, we live in the age of the internet. You can you figure it out, but yeah, you figure it out. But I think like it's trial and error. Like, I did the Instagram thing, I did the YouTube thing, Spotify thing, SoundCloud thing, and you do it enough till you really look at the numbers. And not only that, like I am old school in the approach of connecting with people, so you figure those things out by actually connecting with people. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that when I think about that, like how did I do all that? Yeah, I don't even know. Sometimes it's just long nights staying awake, you know. Even going to work, I ride the train, so that hour and a half is also a time to do all that, like time management. I guess that's the best way to.
So basically
Yeah,
it just comes down to an inner discipline and being able to sort of really focus on what you want, but also knowing specifically how and when you're going to
yeah,
implement it.
yeah. I guess that's the best way to put it. But mine was all autopilot. It was just all. It's either you do it or you don't.
But I can tell that you have some fans though, because I see that merch that you got on, the hoodie and the cap. um,
Yeah.
yeah, you've got a merch store and everything, man. Like, it's amazing. Like, how do you feel about the amount of independence that artists and musicians have nowadays in regards to all that stuff?
That word independent artist. Or the phrase. It sounds so great, but it takes so much work, and it takes money to get into that. And it's like this title a lot of people wear, but you don't see what goes behind it. So I love it, because I get to narrate the story and not somebody else. I mean, I wouldn't trade it. I mean, would I ever get signed? I mean, you'd have to replace my actual salary for that, but
Yeah, like occasionally I talk to musicians and they are
yeah.
clearly like, yeah, I need to get signed because there's things I can't do. And all fair to them, man. Like, it's cool. Some people just are unable
Ooh,
to.
you said something that makes my blood boil.
Okay, elaborate. Go for it.
When someone says I can't, I'm like, why can't you?
I mean, I'm not going to argue with them about it, you know what I mean? But like, I
Yeah,
get what you're
like,
saying.
yeah, but like, why can't I? Like, so, you've met a lot of people. A lot of people do music, and whenever I hear I can't, I'm like, you realize I went to work too, and I had to lose stuff too, and you see where I'm at, and like you just do it. I became an engineer. I became a video editor. I do graphics, do some marketing, and you can do those things. So when I hear somebody I can't, oof, I'm like, oof.
Yeah, like, how can you have faith in your music if you don't even have enough faith in yourself to do a course on video editing or a course on graphic design? Like, I'm not saying it's as easy as that, but there's still room to improve yourself in ways that are reasonable.
But it is easy. we all have iPhones and Androids, and there's those programs on there that really streamline it to where you can just pump it out. That's, we live in that. I think because we live, we're in the technology phase right now. I think a lot of that is easy to do. So I don't know. You don't even have to take a course.
No, I get you. I get you. I mean, like that is the beauty of nowadays. Like a lot of people take that for granted that you can just go do it at any time, and arguably because they can do it at any time, people don't
Yeah.
take that there's no there's no urgency with it.
Motivation.
Yeah, motivational urgency, because they take for granted they can just do it if they want to. They're just waiting for their time, you know?
I've learned as an independent artist, and we're not in the 90s anymore, so you're not going to get discovered unless you're that one person that gets discovered somehow. Some exec, is at lunch and YouTube recommends it type of scenario. But you have to put the work in. I don't. It's just that simple. And sometimes it might take you until your 30s to get it done.
And that's the thing, man. You can actually learn a lot of stuff even in your 30s. It's not like when you get to 30, you're suddenly unable to start a career or anything like that, or even like grow your existing career. Like I've interviewed people. Oh no, you go for it, man.
I think it's because there's like this idea that music is a young person's, like a teenager's thing. And they're like, oh, you're 30, you're still making music, that's for kids. And I'm like, that doesn't, yeah. I'm just like, I see where they're coming from, but at the same time, no. I mean, if you're writing songs like you're still 17 years old, there might be an issue. But
yeah. No, I feel you. I mean, you don't seem like you need a lot of help anyways. You seem like you got your stuff together. In fact, I will say that for you, a lot of fans have already discovered you, because with the Lord Razu, the single, what do you call the Lord Razu? How do you describe the most recent release of yours?
Oh, that's a great question. It is an introduction, a reintroduction to the world, but me being raw, 100% myself. Not worried about what person likes the song or how to fit in or how marketable it is. It was me, like, just coming to a place to where I want to connect with people from different cultures, people who like different music. We're no different just because we have different backgrounds and different countries, skin colors, cultures, whatever. We can enjoy music. And that album, I call it an album, even though it's a single. It was meant for me to establish connections and community, because like music, when we grow up, we normally fit in these, depending on our culture or upbringing, we'll fit in these certain categories. I mean, it's the truth, and we'll stick to that. We dress a certain way based off of those. And part of my culture, we're strictly like hip hop or R&B or jazz and funk, but like I love other genres, and I want to be able to open up people in different cultures. Like, hey, it's okay to listen to something else and love it, but also it's okay to be yourself.
Because like you're obviously like I've listened to like Kumite and Nani and tracks like that, and they sound fantastic. But what's really interesting to me is the amount of love that your drum bass remix of the Lord Razu has gotten. Because you like your drum bass, don't you?
Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that, despite the fact that you have done quite a lot of hip hop, and I know that you put some drum bass stuff on there, why do you think you've gotten that success with the remix of the drum bass track?
I think you pointed out this on on your review too. So the original song is very kind of like mellow in a sense, and then that energy just picks up. And we live in an age where people love that quick returning, that energy. So I think that is a part of it, because I had another friend. He kind of said something similar. Oh, he loves the first song, but as soon as he hears the drum and bass, man, he just feels like the energy swells up from inside of him. And that was my intent, which is why I placed it there. But I think that's what it is.
Because you've got these other types as well. Like you've got like drum bass. The middle one was interesting. I was not expecting the middle one. It's very rare that I get the hip hop and rap artists that I talk to and other genres related. We don't often do metal. And to be brutally honest, it's not often done very well, but I'll give credit to you, Lord Razu. You did a
Yeah.
pretty good job with the middle version.
This is something that I wanted to talk to you about. So, like, I did have help on this project. I didn't play the guitars. I can't do everything. I did bring in a person to do that, and even like the orchestra one, I hired actual real people to play the violin and cello. So like that was another layer of this single because like 90% of everything I've done on my own, but this is me trying to bring community and people in. So as far as the metal one is concerned, like I love guitars. I love electric guitars. I love some metal songs. It used to be weird to talk about that a long time ago, depending on in the culture. You know what I mean? You talk about hip hop and rap, and like a lot of those taboos obviously are gone, but I want to amplify it.
Because, like, how do you have music that sounds different or unique unless you challenge those boundaries?
Yeah. That's the only way people discover new things is by challenging boundaries. If you do what's safe, then what is really gained, and what are you really spreading and teaching the world?
It's because, like, how would you describe what the original track is about? Like, what are the themes present in the Lord Razu
Okay,
within lyrics?
that was me being vulnerable. It was me being straightforward, uncompressed, and it was meant to state exactly raw who I am and what I stand for in the simplest terms. Normally, I write songs more complex on the lyrical side, and there was some sprinkled in there, but it was meant for people to know, which is why there's so many mixes as well. And to one of your statements that you've made, it's not over. I got a deluxe edition happening at some point. It will have a beatbox mix. Yeah, it will have a techno mix. It would have a ambient mix, an actual hip hop remix that's faster than the original, possibly a reggaeton mix. And what drove this decision was the love from people from the initial one. They were like, "Oh, I want this genre too." And people started feeling included. And I was like, you know what? Like, let's connect some more.
So basically, what you did, which, at surface value seems like a no brainer, but it's incredibly uncommon in music. You listened to people and you heard their suggestions, and you basically gave people what they wanted.
Without compromising myself. And that's what's important. I think a lot of us want to fit in, and then we'll be like, all right, well, I'll cut corners. I'll do this for 5 years, and then you just lose yourself. And it's not going to be me.
Do you enjoy, because this is a question I ask my music students and I get some really interesting answers, especially from the long
Mhm.
termers. Do you enjoy making music as much as you did when you started?
No. And I'll tell you why. Because I started doing all the business in it. Yeah. Like, and that's why I'm trying to create a team right now. So I can go ahead and push that back. And so I can get back to what makes me me. That's kind of like a trick question. But yeah, the business side takes a lot of energy out of you. And that's where that whole independent artist thing comes in. It's like, that's tough.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean it as a trick question. I mean it genuinely because I talk to a lot of musicians and it concerns me. Because a lot of musicians that I talk to or that I review appear so oriented
Mhm.
around the financial side of things that they completely lose themselves. And I just ask people so that if they haven't thought about that in a while, that they get the opportunity to do so, you know?
Oh yeah, I'll never quit. I'll never give up. I do love it and have fun. But there are days where there is madness in the sense where I'm like, all right, I made this beautiful song. And then there's a whole nother like bigger chunk that's behind that. It gets rough. It gets rough, and sometimes you get discouraged, and you're like you want to quit today, and tomorrow, but you know I think that's just emotions.
I think that's part of why you had people back your Kickstarter, honestly, because you seem like a really genuine, down to earth Dude, you've got the moniker of the Lord Razu, which is like super like, whoa, this guy's a lord. Right? But like when you chat to you, you're down to earth and there's
Yeah.
no BS or anything. Like it's refreshing. I think people can see that.
I have a coach and she asked me the question. She's like, ask yourself why people, believe in you and love what you're doing and want to join the Ninja Clan. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm just being myself. She's like, really think about that. And I'm like, I'm not a person who's high up on, just looking at myself and like in the mirror every morning. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm the best. But it's more of like a part of what you asked me with the album, like being myself is like the most important thing. Because like if you aren't yourself, you'll lose everything else. That's how I feel. So being genuine for me is just, it's like respect for you. It's support and just, I don't know, living.
Well, because yeah, you're a human being. You're a human being making at base value, you're creating art. It's wild to think about the way the music industry now is. Don't worry, I'm not going to go on a rant. It's just like it's so many. I try not to in this specific situation because I want these chats to be about you, my dude. I get it. When you say that there are days where it's tough, I get it because especially when you combine literally everything else that's going on. Like I don't really talk about live shows with people because of the last few years. Have you done live shows? Have you gotten to do any of that kind of stuff?
So this is where like I had a moment of confusion, I'll say, to keep it simple. My video Elevate, my song Elevate, I typically do big releases on my computer. Stop. My Alexa was trying to play my song. I was supposed to do a big, show tour and do my few songs, but then COVID happened and I got super discouraged about that. And have I done live shows since? No. That's why I got into streaming. Like I play video games. And so I'm bringing that pool in there, doing live music. And like, I'm in the process of figuring out how to do live performances on there. But it's a balance with that.
I get it. Yeah, man. I think a lot of, and this isn't diminishing your experience, a lot of musicians were understandably discouraged.
Yeah.
And also because, live shows were kind of a no-go for a year or two, I think a lot of people just got out of practice. And venues, if there were venues that were doing it, potentially it was kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you'd have a go again at live shows at any point, or?
I think I will once. I got a lot of plans in the behind the scenes going on. So once I get around that, and that kind of comes with the territory of doing mostly everything alone, it's hard to get to that because I want to go bigger than what I was doing before. So yeah, I think I will.
That's fantastic. Yeah. That's great to hear because you've already worked so hard on your music. And you've already worked so hard on the marketing business side of things. Is that kind of where musicians make the money nowadays, by doing the live shows? Like, is there money to be made with live shows at the moment?
Not really.
Not really?
Not unless the music industry is tough anyways. Like, you're not really going to make money much until you get to a certain point. And a lot of that money comes from merchandise. It comes from other skills outside of the music, because there are people obviously releasing millions of songs weekly. In order to get that juice, you got to present yourself in a different way. You got to get different income streams.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about your merch and your live streams because I play video games too. Video games are fun, but we'll do the merch first because I like that too. What is your merch range? What do you do in terms of merch?
I'm constantly building on it, but I got hats, hoodies, beanies, shirts, leggings, crop tops. Look, we got blankets coming soon, shower curtains, jackets. we got all that. And then like right now I am working on a ninja line specifically. Gonna have 11 different designs because 11 is an important number for me. And, you know, kind of bring that in. We're gonna end up selling it in a store, a local store. But, you know, obviously it has my logo, but it's very ninja oriented in the theme and vibe. You know, I just truly launched a store. I mean, I've had it open since I had the website, really redesigning and getting it off its feet just recently. And that's where my mind has been at. But, you know, I got people purchasing it, sending me photos in and, you know, getting on the wall of the ninja. So,
Yeah, because it is kind of a cool thing to make some fashion about. You know, the whole ninja kind of like, I
yeah,
get that. Like, there's not a lot of that around, is there? There's not a lot of clothing like that, especially in the mainstream nowadays.
no. A lot of people just have their hat with the name and 1, 2 t-shirts, and that's their merchandise. But for me, it's all about community. And mostly everybody loves ninja. So, you know, I'm trying to bring that all in together, and bring that sense of community and togetherness and so where people can be themselves.
Shower curtains are fun. I've never had someone mention shower. How did you come to the idea to have shower curtains as merch?
I mean, you know, you got their merch store, you know, everything's possible, you know, it's, you can do anything, you know. I was just like, man, like, wouldn't that be cool to have like, I'm probably gonna be the only one with it. Let me be honest with you. I don't know if someone's gonna wake up in the morning and wants to see the Lord Razu in the bathroom, but you know what? The thought that counts, you know. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just do something cool and different. You know, everyone does hats and shirts. You know,
You're right. Yeah.
let's kick it up a notch.
Exactly, because if there's room to try something new, and people are going to talk about it, like I'm going to remember that you did shower curtains, because I've never heard that before. And I'll say to people, I talked to a musician today called Lord Razu, and he has all sorts of merch. He even does shower curtains, and people will be like, what? And then they'll be like, oh, they'll remember that too, just because it's something
Yeah,
different, you know?
yeah. I'll send you one. I'm gonna need you to test that out for me.
I'll see how my partner feels about it. I'm sure she'll be fine.
Like, who is this?
No, it's all good, man.
Just tell her we're ninjas now.
Hey, there we go. Well, I wear enough. I wear black clothing a lot of the times. I'm basically fading into the shadows, anyways.
There
So
we go.
it's fine.
You're already part of the team.
That's fantastic, and your website's very professional. How long do you think it would take for someone who is completely fresh to get to the expertise that you do in these different fields? If they were if they were to do it daily, how long would it take?
Mm, Probably about 10 years, give or take. Yeah. I mean, if you're not playing video games, I'm pretty sure that'll cut down some time. But I'd say about 10 years because it takes time to know yourself and to know what you want. You know, I really think it does because like it took me a couple years to get the engineering part down and to really get an ear for that. Because I know that you get taught that in actual, music production school. They try to train your ear to how to really hear the different frequencies and, so I had to teach myself that on my own. So those type of things, even web design and development, I had to teach myself that. Understanding, what people may gravitate to, that takes socializing. And that's just part of the journey. So I would say 10 years. Just don't play too many video games. I think that's the tough one.
No, it's fine. Honestly, like I don't know if I could do that. I like video games too much, man. Video games are too much fun,
Oh,
dude.
so do I. I know, yeah.
So to ask about the video games and the live streams, what games are you streaming at the moment?
So I took a long break because of life. I will be returning, but I do a lot of like Dark Souls, Elden Ring, which is hot right now. Um, oh, I know you're playing that, aren't you? Oh yeah. Look, I got 250 hours in it already.
What?
Well, okay. I think like 50 of those hours are falling asleep with it on, but still. Um, yeah, I'll play like Destiny, Overwatch, stuff like that. But, I'll have my music playing in the background and, people request songs that they like because, the way my intro is and stuff. It plays my theme song and my songs throughout there. You know, people love it. So, you know, it's I will be returning stream at a regular basis once I get some more graphics and rework things, because like I said, I want to bring some of the live music into it. You know, if somebody does a redeem for X amount of points, I'll drop a 16 for them real quick.
That's fun. Yeah, you are not a fan of half-assing anything, are you?
Mm-mm.
No.
No, not at all. Not at all. Like, I don't know. It's just, I like to sleep and I like to relax. So if you get it done now, you don't have to do it later. So
if you don't avoid easily avoidable mistakes now, and you just do it properly, you can just chill.
That's it. That's it. You know, I know it just takes a long time to get there. I mean, I was single for a while too. Also, that helps too, being single. Yeah. So I'm not single anymore. I'm married, but like that's a process. Yeah, that I think as a musician too. Yeah, you need to be single for a little bit until you know, before you, because you need to be set up.
Well, yeah, I personally feel that you need to be alone for a while just to figure out who you are. Because, like, you know, when we're growing up, depending on your situation, of course, at least for me, I was constantly surrounded by people. And then when you get to a point in your adulthood and you're fully kind of like on your own doing stuff, you realize, oh, I'm alone. And it makes you face everything about yourself that you might have been distracted by otherwise. And it can, sometimes it can really mess people up because they struggle to be alone. But often people become better because of that isolation. And then when they go out into the world, they've learned, they know who they are, they're more confident, and they do better.
Kind of speaking on those lines, and this is something I would say for every musician to do, because I'm pretty sure most of us struggle at one point with some sort of emotional or mental issues. Doing therapy, or at least talking to somebody, working those whatever traumas you might have out, would help you as a musician. I know that's big in the music industry. You know, a lot of artists experience that, but I think that's what helped me, like getting to a certain point. No, I don't think, I know, you know, working through those. And the music was therapy, but you also have to address your life outside of the music. I think too many of us get caught up in the dream of being famous, and, you know, knowing yourself, like you just said, that's part of that process.
Well, yeah, like, especially because, like, I don't know what it's like in your part of the world. Here in New Zealand, we have the situation where we have the saying, she'll be right. And up until very, very recently, like, if you're a dude, for example, and you're going through stuff, you just had to get over it. You know, you just, you know, because, like, that wasn't cool, man. It wasn't cool if you're going through stuff, man. If you were really struggling, you just took a concrete pill and get the hell over it.
Same way here, man.
But like, as you're saying, even if you don't think there's anything going on, it's good, because sometimes people can get sort of indoctrinated into believing that really bad stuff is normal. And then they realize, oh, that isn't normal, and and that can help.
If I were to say anything to anyone who ever watches this, and any artist, definitely connect with yourself. Your music will benefit from that, for sure.
Nah, man, you're a good person, the Lord Razu. Again, it's that thing where I hear the Lord Razu and I'm like, wow, this guy is an omnipotent force, right? And then we got the man chatting in. He's a cool dude. I want to say, like, how have your musical themes changed since you started? Like, has the stuff you've written about changed over that time?
Actually, yeah. I have one more song that kind of shares. Like, there was a period of time, and obviously a lot of people write music with, you know, that reflects what they're going through at the current time in life. But like, I went through a lot of crap, and like, I'm pretty much at the end of that. And there's one more song that kind of rounds up. It's called Rebirth. It hasn't come out yet, but as what it sounds, rebirth, you know what that means. Am I writing the same as this? No, it's evolved, it's improved, but the heart of it's the same. But in a way, it's growing within the foundation that was set before. That's the best way to put it.
Because, you know, like you've just spoken about what's upcoming for you. What are your plans for this year in general?
My big like this year, I kind of wanted to hold off like the last couple years. Obviously, I've released over 50 music videos. I want to take this year to build and reconnect in that sense. Remember we talked about the fun and how I just want to be the writer again and being in the music. So that's kind of what's going to be for this year. However, I do have at least one or two releases planned. Um, actually this Sunday is my birthday. So I'll be releasing the beatbox version of my theme song just to celebrate my own birthday, but also
Nice.
provide something fresh. It'll be an actual video where beatboxer's doing his thing in the little squares, and then I'm in the center and stuff like that. But I in the future, I have 14 singles planned, and the way I like to do singles is I do videos to everything, to the main ones, and then I have a drum and bass album, and then after that, I have a hybrid album coming out or a single coming out of drum and bass and hip hop because that's kind of my direction of and that was like the big reason why the Lord Razu single was there as well, is to kind of kickstart like, hey, he's not just rap and hip hop, he's all these things. So yeah, I got all those projects.
I am so pleased to hear that you're going to be combining those drum bass and hip hop influences directly in music, that hybrid. I've been screaming for it, man, internally. I heard that track, the drum bass remix, and I was like, I really want this man to spit some bars over some drum bass. That'd be super dope.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have a couple that are released that I did rap on drum and bass, but I really will be leaning more into that, like 100%. Like, so once these singles in the drum and bass album, I want to be known as a hip hop and drum and bass artist, and that's kind of where I'll go. I'll have the tidbits of mixes in different genres here and there, but that's where the direction is.
Because what's cool about that is you not only have access to like live gigs and stuff eventually, but you can also have DJs play your music.
That was another reason for this album. I was like, man, I need to get this. I want to get everywhere. I want to get Walkman CDs and MP3s and DJs booths and Vivo and Roku. I want everything.
And like that's totally fine. I when I listen to your drum and bass, it's sounding really well polished, and I think
Yeah.
that it would fit in quite nicely with a lot of the sort of the modern drum bass that we have. I'm trying to think. There's like different little subgenres of drum bass. Are you gonna go with like really really bass heavy stuff? Or are you gonna go with the more pretty sort of liquid drum bass stuff? Or
Liquid and a little bit of the I'm forgetting what it's called. Is it necro? Dark, I'll just call it dark because it's also called dark DMB. A little bit of that. My influences are KJ Saka, and I don't know if you heard of him. And then there is Black Sun Empire. I'm not sure if you heard of them.
I've heard of Black Sun
But
Empire. Yep.
yeah, and so those are like huge influences of mine in terms of drum and bass. So I'll kind of be going as a hybrid with that in addition to just being myself, but just to give those influences as a reference point, not necessarily because I like sounding like somebody else.
Oh, no, like honestly, like through your branding alone, you've already differentiated yourself. But I do think your voice is distinctive. Like when you've done collaborations with singles and stuff like that, I can recognize who you are. And I think part of the beauty of that is you also, like, how do you choose who you collaborate with?
Personal relationships. I think that's the best way to put it, but it's also me studying them, knowing their range, and just coming together on that. That's the best way to put it. It hasn't always been 100% successful, but I'm pretty much hit the mark most of the time.
I mean, like, collaborations are tricky because of that. You've got more than
Yeah,
one moving part in it.
yeah,
Yeah. But for most of them work out, that's pretty cool.
yeah. Yeah, no, I think the collaborations are beautiful, but those are one of those things where, it can get very difficult because you're dealing with so many moving parts, like you said. Like, there's a reason why a lot of the older bands all break up, and like the unseen things that come with being a band and collaborating, it's a hard thing.
Because if you're part of a group, you not only have the appeal of the group, but you have the appeal of the individual members. And you might
Mhm.
have like different fans of different people with specific. I think that's why K-pop bands work so well. Because they have like 10 people and each of them
Yeah, I
have like
know.
fan bases and they come together. But no, I don't think you need that, man. But would you collaborate with drum and bass producers for like
Oh yeah,
your
oh yes, that is where I'm headed. I cannot wait. I am super excited to really just like hit drum and bass. Yeah, oh, I can't wait. Yeah, because normally I make everything on my own, but I don't want to do that anymore. I want to, get some people on the squad, and I mean that's what the single was. Because working with all those different artists on there. So
Well, I mean, for you, I mean, you're already again, your drum bass sounds really good, but you might even learn some new stuff from the people you're working with. Like it's just, and they may even be able to. How do I say this? It's just a learning curve, even if you're already at the top of
So
the.
speaking of drum and bass, I had help on that one. My homie High Five, he was like a big part of that project in terms of helping me where I could not figure out. And really helping the vibe behind that. So he, shout out to High Five. He'll see this. What up? But yeah, like he's that's my ninja right there. That's my ninja. So yeah, no, I have that and I'm trying to build more of that. But no, he has shown me like he's like the other side of me if I wasn't a rapper.
Yeah, I'm grateful that you're mentioning these people because like it can just take that one person to make something truly special, and
Yeah.
it's good that you're like comfortable with asking other people for help.
It took me a minute to get there. I started out that way, but I got jaded at it when I was like 19, going to studios and them taking advantage of my money, not not giving me the quality I think I thought I should have for the money that I'm paying. And then for me to go purchase a MacBook and getting Pro Tools and figuring it out on my own, I kind of got jaded. I was like, I had to do this and figure this out. And so, and then working with a lot of people, I had a lot of failures in terms of relationships and getting songs done. So I got jaded. And, this album single was the point for me to grow out of that because you can't do it alone. You just can't.
No, I mean you've already put so much work into most, if not all, of the other aspects of your music and your brand and yourself. It's okay to ask for help with stuff when you
Mhm.
genuinely just feel stuck.
I mean, it doesn't take away from who you are as an artist and what you've
Mm.
done and your value. And I think that a lot of people want to be so important that they can't respect and show love to the people who supported them. And I am the Lord Razu, but everybody in the clan is the Lord Razu. Everybody you see on the site on the wall of Ninja, people who listen and follow and support, they are all the reason why. I know it sounds cliche, all the artists always say that, but for me, it's the truth. And that's why, like, I get their pictures and post it and want to get back and recognize the people.
People want a sense of belonging as well.
Yeah.
It's. I think it's really cool that you've got that wall there. It lets people know, yo, I'm supported by these people. These people appreciate what I do, and I appreciating them for supporting me to do what I do. It's cool, man. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with showing appreciation.
Yeah. No, I even the Kickstarter, like the support from friends, family, fans. I don't even want to call them fans, it's friends and family. It's like, you know, and that was a dream of mine for that to happen. Not many artists get a chance to get a fully funded project on Kickstarter, and to get a physical album, an actual physical album. I think that's lost on the music generation. But to be able to send that to the people and people take that home and they're like, I have something, because I missed that. So, I wouldn't have been able to do that without any of them.
Good on you. I mean, yeah, you mentioned the hand actually being able to hold something physical, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, there's not really much aside from merch that is physical music nowadays, is there?
Not at all. Nothing. I mean, that's just because everything digital. But I think that's what's missing in music, period, is that physical. I think people would appreciate music more if there was more incentive to invest. I think that's why they're trying to do NFTs, but I don't think that's a comparison.
Mm. Yeah, NFTs are a tricky topic, man. I would talk about them, but I don't know enough about them. My understanding is they're like you own the link to the thing. You own the hyperlink to the thing or something like that. I don't even know if you own an NFT. Do you own an NFT or do you own the link?
I don't know, but all I know is when Skynet happens or shows up, if you don't have your physical album, then what are you going to listen to in the old CD player? Skynet takes over. We'll just be listening to elevator music the whole time.
It'll just be Rickrolling the entire time, man.
Exactly.
Or the Titanic music with the broken recorder or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Yeah, man. I don't know. I am a fan of music, and I miss the. You remember when you could walk to the CD to the store, the record store, pick up your CD, that excitement, unpackaging. Can't do that really anymore. I think people get that with vinyl nowadays, but that's the only unfortunate part about Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud is that you don't get to connect.
No, you don't. Your human senses, apart from sight, and
Yeah,
like when I think of vinyl, I think of you put it in a record player and you sit down on a nice, comfy couch, and
yeah.
you have a whiskey, and you
Oh
on the
yeah,
rocks,
we're on the
and you
same
just
page. Yeah,
it's sophistication, right? I think
yeah,
that's what a lot of people love about vinyls. But yeah, man, I'm glad that you're doing physicals though. Good on you for doing
yeah.
that. It's important. People need to feel that music, literally
I
and
know.
audibly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm even doing, and I'm working on this something. This is kind of a prototype. So you saw this obviously, uh, but I'm actually working on something to actually even hand people in passing, not just take this to networking events or send this to you know something to really make people like, man, like who, like this guy. Okay, I connected with him through a conversation, and I believe in this, not just, oh, he makes music. you know
Yeah, just making music isn't enough anymore. You need to have more than just making
hmm
music. You get literal 12-year-olds playing around on GarageBand with music nowadays. And not that that's a bad
and
thing, good on them, but you're maybe not looking at purchasing a 12-year-old's first sort of
yeah,
production on GarageBand.
yeah. It's crazy, right? Most of those songs you heard was made on my iPhone and iPad.
Crazy. That it
Yeah.
doesn't sound like it was made on that. It sounds like you went
Well,
into a studio, dude.
okay, well, okay. Like I obviously imported all the kits in there, but there were some stock things. But like one of the songs I'm releasing, Rebirth, in GarageBand, I use the cello in there, and I mix it in with a live violin, and you can't tell. Those possibilities are there.
I take it back, man. The technology is incredible. I am mind blown by that.
That kind of goes back to what I was saying. When somebody says they can't, you can.
Yeah, I mean, I have to go fairly soon, but I just want to say on that comment, like, yeah, you're absolutely right. There is literally no excuse. If you have something with GarageBand or even Reaper and you use free plugins,
Hmm.
you should be able to make something serviceable, right? It should
Hmm.
be good, especially if you got that one main musical theme. And if you get a
Hmm.
semi decent microphone, it should be enough, right?
Oh yeah, that's how I started. I mean, I bought an expensive one. Didn't realize I bought a really good mic, but it happens. You can do it. You can do whatever you want as long as you put your mind to it. You know.
I mean, it's not like you need a U87. You don't need to drop like 6 grand on a mic. You can get an SM57 if you want. You know, you
Yeah.
just get a 57. That'll be SM7B. Sorry, you can get an SM7B or something like that, and that'll do you for your entire career. It's just,
Oh, yeah.
it's just durable, and you can throw it
Yeah.
at things and it'll survive it. You know.
I was shocked with mine. I think I got one of the roadie mics, and that thing has failed everywhere. And I'm like, this thing still works. Yeah. So,
Is that the Rode
yeah.
NT1?
I think so. I think that's it. Hold up.
Hey.
And look at this bad boy.
Hey, oh, you know, you got a fancy one. You have got the fancy one. That is the upgraded version of mine. That's a very fancy one there.
I've had this for over a decade. Yeah.
No, that'll do you well, my dude. That's fantastic. Yeah, because again, you don't want to cheap out on a vocal mic. That's kind of the one thing you don't want to cheap out on, because that'll screw everything.
I mean, I've recorded on my iPad mic, so you just gotta know how to engineer it.
Oh,
Yeah. I did 90 on my iPad.
Look, I feel like I could chat for you a lot longer than Lord Razu.
I know.
But I guess a couple more questions. The one I like to ask you people is, where do you see yourself when you've gotten to the end point? You're like, where do you want to go from here?
There is no end point. You're either all in or you're all out. That's it. You know, music is a lifetime passion and love. You're gonna be days you want to quit, days you're like, why am I even doing this? But you know, it's a journey. It's a destiny.
That's a good answer. I like that. A lot of people are like, I will stop when I get a house, or I will stop when I reach X amount of followers. And it's like, well, I guess for some people, you know, I know it's great that that shows passion for it, doesn't it? What you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I love it, man. So it's just I want to leave a legacy and connect with many people as possible. Because if you have children, and you said you have a shower curtain, you know, your son or daughter will connect with that. And one day they might discover me.
Oh, dude, you're one of the musicians I like my kids to listen to, if only for like the fact that, well, your music's obviously dope, but I just think you're the whole package. You've just appear like you've got everything sorted, and like often people walk away from these interviews, they've admitted stuff that they could improve on. For you, I think you got it all handled. So I suppose to go to a question, where can people find your music?
Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, Vivo. But I like to direct people to thelordrazu.com. Go there first and then go everywhere else. Get yourself a shirt, become a ninja, join the wall, send me a picture, put a hashtag on there on Instagram. That's where I want you to go. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. We've got to go to the website. And is there anything I missed before we finish up? Have I forgotten to talk about anything? I feel like we covered everything, eh?
Oh, we covered everything, man. I'm pretty sure we could talk forever. So, yeah, we're good. We're good. Yeah.
All right. Well, the Lord Razu, thank you very much for your time today. And I wish you the best of luck in future. Cheers. Cheers for this.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
See you later. And that was my interview with the Lord Razu. Razu Chin, if I'm not mistaken. That was a cool interview. It's one of those situations where, you know, I could, you know, genuinely, we could have kept going for another hour or so. The guy is clearly passionate about his music. It was cool that he was into video games and sort of his videos, and it's great his branding is going on. And he also seems like a genuine human being who really cares about himself and what he's doing. I think the comments that he made about sort of people going to therapy are really important, because like sometimes it can be really useful for you to examine what you're doing with your life, where you're going with it, how it's affecting you. And if you can help yourself with all those different things, what will occur is that you may even become a better person, or a more knowledgeable or self-aware person. And you end up finding success. You know, when I hear Lord Razu talk about his music and the effort he's put into it and where he's going with his drum bass and hip hop, I think that's sounding very, very, very promising. I've got lots of love for what he's trying to accomplish. And hopefully you did too, because if you liked the Lord Razu's music, please do go visit him via his various social medias and his website. Stay cool and stay safe, and please also remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as need the help more than ever with all the great stuff going on in the world. And I will catch you in the next SB interviews. Spider hands out.